Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing today? This is a special live stream where I will be talking about the best Black Friday deals on the internet for people who want to get good language learning products. So this isn't just stuff that we've come up with at Fluent in 3 months. This is across the board, multiple different companies that we've reached out to, and we've actually spent quite a lot of the last few weeks trying to aggregate and have one place on the internet where you guys can all come to find all of the best Friday deals in an easy to navigate system. So with that in mind, I'm going to show you how this works. So effectively, you'll see everything that I'm talking about today on fluent3months.com, or you can see I've got fi3m.com as a shorthand here just above me. So just type fi3m.com or fluent3months.com, and you will see this page that I'm currently showing you. So um, feel free to drop your questions, like I'm doing this live right this second, and I'll be very glad to address whatever I can related to these products. And then at the end, I'll take some general language learning questions as well. But if you watch this after the fact, then you can, of course, skip ahead to different parts that you might want to see for different products. So effectively, the first thing that you're going to do, if you go to Fluent in 3 months, we've replaced our homepage with this, and you'll want to click this drop-down menu that'll say choose a language and change it to say the language that you in particular are learning. And once you've selected it, you'll click show me the deals, and that'll give you the crafted version of what I'm about to talk about, specifically just for your language. But I have another link that I'm going to go through right now, and I'm going to copy this link into, it should be in the description, but I'm going to copy it into the chat window so you can go directly to this. This is slightly different because this one is not language specific. It lists the products that work for all languages, um, regardless of what you might be learning. So I'll focus on that a little bit today. But if you're learning Spanish in particular, or Korean in particular, or whatever language, you'll see we've covered quite a lot in our list. You'll find extra things just for that language that other companies are doing special Black Friday deals on. So these are huge savings that you'll get only in these next few days. So I'll talk a little bit about the Fluent in 3 months specific deals a little bit later. So if you were here for my live stream yesterday, um, you'll see me talk about this in detail, but I'll get back to that a bit later on because I want to talk about other people's products. So I can see your questions here. Kendrick's asking if you plan to continue your Japanese learning anytime. Definitely. I felt like my trip to Japan wasn't as immersed as I wish it could have been. I didn't get to explore nearly enough of the country. So going to Japan is definitely in my travel plans at some stage. I don't know when, but ahead of that trip, I am definitely going to have to boost my Japanese. Firstly, to the um, basic conversational level I got it to that project, but then push it much beyond that to real fluency so that I can truly experience the country and have a better second trip when I do go there. And thank you, Sarah. I appreciate you joining, and I am doing well. It's Thanksgiving yesterday in America, and I actually have my Christmas decorations up already. If you guys look at my Instagram, you'll see what that looks like. I got a lovely tree and all this stuff. So keep the questions coming, and I'll hopefully have time to address everything that people come up with. The first product, of course, is Ollie Richards' products. He has a series called Uncovered for let's see which languages he's got here. So we got Uncovered Italian, French, German, and Spanish. And you guys would know of Ollie. We've done live streams together a bunch. I've hung out with him loads at various polyglot events. And what I like about Ollie is that he has really focused on solving a very specific problem. So, like, my mantra in language learning, speak from day one. And I try to focus on helping people solve that problem and to get the confidence to speak from the beginning. Whereas Ollie, he's all about that as well. He approves of the speak from day one philosophy. But what I really like is that he has taken the concept of learning a language through stories, and he's really honed in on that. And so in these courses, he helps people who are beginner levels. So these will have various different levels that I'm going to address in today's live stream. But specifically, if you're a beginner in Italian, French, German, or Spanish, you'll find these to be very enjoyable courses to help you boost your level up a notch. And they're based on following along with a story. Difference being, instead of just buying like a random book in these languages, you have guided learning, and the story is also tailor made to help you expand your language skills. So, if that sounds interesting to you, then again, go to the link that you can see above my head, just fi3am.com or fluent3months.com. Click your language and then select the uncovered lists from Ollie, because what he's doing is 67% off his regular price. And that's just going to be over these next few days. You'll get that 67% off deal. All right. So that's the first thing that I want to mention is Ollie's product. The next is a huge favorite of mine for solving another specific problem. Because that's the thing, there's a lot of different deals out there, and the theme I really wanted to address was to help you, um, like to hit what we would think of as like a pain point, something that's really dragging you down, and that you feel like you want to solve this issue. So in I know that for a very long time I ran into the issue of listening comprehension. Even when I was very early with the blog, I had this issue with my German, for instance, that I sat the C2 exam in German and I passed 4 out of 5 sections, but 4 out of 5 is not 5 out of 5, so I didn't get this diploma of C2 mastery in German. And the part that I failed was listening comprehension. And I thought that by having the radio on in German, that I would just be like exposed to the language, and just through osmosis I would naturally become good at listening comprehension. I was practicing my listening in some way. Unfortunately, I was completely wrong and I bombed that part of the exam. And what I should have done was something way more um focused and way more specific to improving my listening comprehension skills. So I might have gotten the gist when someone spoke to me, but not really understood the nuance and being able to answer complicated questions on what they were saying. So ever since then, I've taken a different approach when it comes to improving my listening comprehension skills. And a large part of that was discovering these podcasts, the Innovative Language Series podcast, and they are offering 51% off. And to give you an idea of what it looks like, this is my Spanish Pod 101 that I've logged into. And again, this is covered for a lot of different languages. So even though I'm doing Spanish Pod, look at this. I'm scrolling through. Here are their top languages, but then goes on to all of these other languages. Each one of these are the languages that they happen to cover in their Pod 101 series. So that's 34 different languages. So all of the backends look similar to this. Now, they have a free version, and the free version lets you listen to a podcast episode that they've released most recently, and you can kind of get a taste for it. But with the paid version, you can listen to their entire catalog of episodes, which have a lot of different themes to them. So when I was trying to really improve my skills, and this product is good for you if you're an intermediate level learner, as well as a beginner level learner, and even an advanced level learner. Because what it does is you listen to an episode that is one level maybe above where you currently are. If you're familiar with the European Common Framework, we try to kind of gauge our levels in that sense. And I always, when I'm using these lessons, try to push myself just one notch higher than I currently feel like I am, rather than just listening to natural native content. It might feel like the best thing to do to find like a newscast or a TV show, but if that's tailored for native speakers. It may be more ideal for you when you're advanced in the language. But with this, they slow it down a little bit, and they also break it up in an understandable way, but it gets progressively harder with each level. And this has been just absolutely essential for me to improve my listening comprehension skills. So you'll get access to their latest episode, but also the catalog. And again, that's only for the paid version of these products that are on special offer for 51% off. And again, if you're just joining, go to the link above my head, just type fi3m.com or fluentin3months.com, and you'll see this front page. Select the language you're learning, and you'll see everything that I'm talking about today, and you'll be able to access it all. But just to kind of talk about the Pod 101 for all these different languages, you'll be able to listen to the episode. You'll have specific phrases that you can click on through. So maybe one sentence I didn't quite get, and I can hear that again.
¿Puedo ver su identificación?
I can think to myself, okay, that part I struggled with. Now I can hear it again, repeated, or maybe specific words they said, and I can hear those.
Comprar.
And that's half the speed as well as
Comprar.
full speed. So you have those different additions. And then the trickiest words I can add to a database for me to study as part of like a spaced repetition program or whatever. And that in itself is good for vocabulary. And then as well as that, another feature for the paid option are you have grammar notes that are relevant to that lesson that you happen to have done. So there's a lot of extra features and that are included in the paid version of these podcasts. So again, if you're on my site, you'll see links to all of these, and I can highly recommend the Pod 101 series in particular if you're having issues with listening comprehension. This is something I struggled with even when I was 10 years into successfully learning languages, and this has been very much the most ideal solution to that problem that I've found. So let's see any of your questions as before I go on to the next thing here. So Sarah's asking, what do you know about the differences between European French and Quebec French? Do you have any resources for the latter? So you'll find a video on this channel about me talking with a native Quebecer on those differences. So that might be just an interesting introduction. I think I've got a few blog posts as well if you search for Quebec French on Fluent in 3 Months. But as well as that, a specific resource for Quebec French would be Le Québécois en 10 leçons. So let me write that down here. Québécois en 10 leçons. I don't have my keyboard set to show the accents. I changed that, but I won't do it here live. So I'm missing the French C and the accents and so on. But if you search for that, you will find a book that you can access that is very, very good book to help you with specifically Quebec French differences. So I hope that addresses that question. So let's see. Yeah, that's otherwise if you guys have other questions, then I'll be very happy to address them as they come up. I'm going to dive right on in as you keep adding your next questions to the next thing here on my list, which is Masalingua. So again, all of this, go to fluent3months.com, click the drop down menu and see the language you're learning, and you'll see all of these very time sensitive Black Friday deals that you'll only get for the next couple of days. And a lot of these are very good investments for language learning. So the next one is Masalingua. So this one is probably the best deal out of everything in terms of the most money that you'll save for all of the things I'm talking about today, because they have 98% off their regular option. So this is, you get their complete courses from absolute beginner to advanced. And they also have a very large number of languages that they cover themselves. And this is more of a language course. So the other things I'm talking about solve other specific problems in language learning, whereas Mosalingua is more of a full language course that you would follow kind of if you don't have anything else, like you don't have any good language books, this would be the solution to that. So their lifetime subscription, if you were to follow through the regular payments, is over 4 grand. But they have other things like side courses, how to learn any language, lifetime access to the MOSA series, and all of this together is kind of valued at 4,850, and you're getting that at 98% of the price. So you can just click the link on my site, you'll check that out. Okay, and let's see your next question before I go into the next product here. Um, Jonathan, what did you practice to get so good at your Spanish speaking? Any specific techniques in italki, or did you talk to yourself? That's an excellent question. So a lot of people I know do talk to themselves, but I personally found as much practice as possible with speakers live has just happened to be the most beneficial for me personally. Um, if you're talking about how to, so that's in general how to get good at speaking. It's just pure practice. The more that you practice, the better you're going to get at that skill. There isn't any really like you can self talk, and self talk does have a lot of benefits, but it's not necessarily going to help you vastly improve your skills. It's spontaneously talking to somebody and reacting to them as they speak. For that, you really do have to have some form of real interactions with a native speaker. So just to keep that in mind, that's kind of what I've done. Is just a whole lot of Spanish spoken practice through things like iTalking and such. Some like between those spoken sessions, I would then see what my biggest issues are and try to solve them. So, as I said earlier, maybe one of my biggest issues would be listening comprehension. And even though that's not improving my direct spoken skills, it is something that slows down the conversation if I have trouble understanding what they're saying. So, in this case, I know that's the problem I want to solve. And that's why I would dive into using this, like one of these resources, for instance. So I hope that kind of addresses that. If that's what you meant, then let me know. Otherwise, feel free to ask another question. So the next thing is bite-sized languages. So this is done by a friend of mine that you guys may know, Chris Broham. He's also done his own podcast, similar to I've got my own podcast. He's a friend of mine. He's Danish that I've met up a bunch of times at polyglot events, and he knows this stuff. So it's great to see options here that you can get directly from individual polyglots. And this course is specifically if you're learning Spanish, French, German, Danish, Russian, and Italian. So that's kind of what he's offering here. And he bundles all 6 of those together. So you'll get them if you're learning multiple of those languages, get all 6 together at 77, a discount of 77%. So check it, like click the link on my page here and check that out, and you'll see him describe this course a bit more. It's got 100 lessons of short and easy dialogues. It's kind of more about it's more focused on beginners and listening skills. So if that's an issue you have in one or more of these languages, I would highly recommend you consider this one. Okay. The next one is Magic Lingua. So this is just specifically for Spanish and German. And these are for preparing you for real life conversations. So rather than generic courses that might teach you like the basics of things that could come up in any conversation, um, or maybe travel vocabulary that a lot of courses try to focus on. These in particular are about actual conversations you're likely to have, and they have 83% off their Spanish course and 75% off their German course. So check these out for more information on what Magic Lingua is, and you'll see if that might work for you. All right. Um, then Intrepid Languages is for Italian, French, Spanish um, conversations and travel. So this is by a friend of mine, Michelle, and she's very experienced traveler. So these courses are very much with that in mind. So if you plan to travel to the country, that's what she knows about. She's like got a very popular Instagram that you can follow her travels, and she has learned these 3 languages to a very good level. So this kind of takes her skills not just in learning these languages, but in applying them specifically to the travel situation. So if you're a beginner in Italian, French, or Spanish, and you have a trip that you plan to take, and we all know that with the vaccines that are going to be coming out, probably around the summer, the world is going to start opening up again, and travel is going to become realistic, which is fantastic. I personally cannot wait to travel again. So if you're thinking of visiting Italy, France, or a Spanish speaking country, then check these out. And she's doing that at 66% off. All right. So before I talk about Link, let's see what other questions you guys have for me here. Polylinguist or Polinguist is saying, are there any resources to help with Irish, even if they don't have deals? I have Teach Yourself Complete Irish, but I wanted to see what else might be available. Yeah, so with less commonly spoken languages, do we actually have an Irish option here? Because we try to do as many as we can, and yeah, I wasn't able to find any good deals for Irish products. So in general, with Irish, it's a little trickier. But if you get in touch with native speakers through the likes of italki, then consistent practice is one thing. And then otherwise, if you follow my Irish language Instagram, that's Il Changa. I think I have a picture of my best books and resources that I use on that, and I post content there as often as I can. It's a relatively new account though, so tomorrow I'll be posting this fun little video I've made in Irish. So check that out if that's something you're interested in. There's a lot of different resources, and I think the best thing I can tell you that it's kind of hard to get into, like in a live stream like this. The best thing is if you search on the blog, go to Fluent in 3 Months, and search for Irish. You'll see several articles I've written about learning Irish, and I link to some of my favorite resources. A lot of these are books. In terms of online resources, that's a little trickier. You have the likes of Duolingo that have an Irish course. Um, I don't know if Duolingo is a major solution to a lot of problems, but it is one way that you can um, like absorb the language in like little bursts. But in general, there are books that I would recommend you use, and we talk about them on the blog a little bit. All right, and hopefully that answers that question. So Link, you guys would know of Link, I hope, and let me show you this. This is my my own account with Link, and you could see that so far um, I've tracked over 3,000 words in German that I know. I know more words than this, but in terms of the number of articles I've imported, um, it's tracked that I know this number of words. So Link you can use for free, and if you use it for free, they put on certain limitations for the number of words you can track, and that you're limited to the to reading the articles that they have available to you. But Link is, like I was saying at the start, I like products that solve specific problems. So when I want to get reading practice in a language, I could have a book with the language and my dictionary ready and kind of read through it. And when I see a word I don't know, then look it up in the dictionary, and that's fine. But what I like about this is it actually highlights for you words that you have not yet marked that you know. So in previous uses of Link, all of the words that are not highlighted are words that came up in the articles, and I was like, yeah, I know these words. So it doesn't worry about them for me. And the more you use it, the less you see those words, and you can focus on the ones that you have trouble with. So as I look at this, I know this word, I know this word, so I don't need to do anything about that. And when I click I know all at the end of reading this article, then the next time those won't be highlighted. But if I look at a word like this Nutzholz, and I'm like, what is that? I'm not sure what that is. I click
Sagte
that.
zu.
Oops, I clicked the wrong one here.
Nutzholz.
I'll hear that word and I'll see it on the side here in their dictionary. And I'm like, okay, that's the word for timber. And um, because I've clicked it, it gets highlighted, and it'll be put into my uh, my words for review later. and I can kind of come back to that and look at it because I'm not going to remember that immediately, and maybe I will want to have a dedicated vocabulary study session. But this way, I can look ahead of time at the difficult words, and then I can read through the article a lot more confident, rather than having it interrupted by going to and fro between different resources. So, Link is probably the best tool I've come across for helping to consistently read well in a language. It's run by a friend of mine, Steve Kaufman. You guys may know we had this like fake battle online where we like our arch nemesis, and it's all just fun and games because like I really respect this guy and I appreciate everything he does for language learning, and he feels I'm very encouraging for language learners too. So there's just nothing better for reading resources than Link, and the fact that you can import your own articles. So rather than just the generic articles they'll add to the site, I would tend to find an article on maybe a newspaper online or something related to one of my interests, and I'll import that. And rather than read it on a web page like on the original web page, I'll read it imported here, and it'll just help me to see the words at a glance that I don't know. Um, so you have unlimited access to being able to do that if you go for their paid option. So I highly recommend Link, and you can get that for 74% off specifically this week. It's usually $12.99 a month, but you get lifetime access for this one fee, and that's definitely worth it if you guys want to check that out. So, um, questions on that? I see. Um, is Link just for new members? Well, Jonathan, if you have been using it for free, then it doesn't matter if you're not a new member. You would essentially upgrade your account to a paid member, and for that you would use this discount. If you are already a paid member, I'm not sure about that. You would have to reach out to Link support to find out if you can take advantage of this deal, even if you've already paid. So I can't answer that question, unfortunately. Um, all right, and uh, Bob the True Cactus says, with Link, I always had problems to import stuff, and it caused a lot of work. Do you have any tips to tackle that? Well, what kind of issues do you have? Like, if it's about the, um, I know that sometimes I have to kind of deal with how it puts things on different pages, and that's never been that big of a challenge to me. But maybe if you find like you're trying to copy text over and it's a little jarbled, there are plugins you can use in several browsers that make it read only mode, and this removes all of the junk from a website, all of the banners and all of the pictures. And if you do that, then you'll only have text version that you would potentially be able to highlight, copy, and paste. Um, so that's one thing I might suggest, but it depends on what the particular challenges you're running into would be for if maybe that's not the challenge that you're talking about. So hopefully that works. So next is Mondly. So Mondly is another very good deal for you guys. This is 96% off the regular pricing, where you actually get lifetime membership, and this actually applies for all 41 languages. So let me show you. This is what their interface looks like. This is another um, language course-based system, and I will say that Mondly is most ideal for beginners. So they have a large number. They have 41 languages. And again, if you click to get the deal through my site, you'll see there a list of languages that they offer. Um, and I do appreciate you guys using the links on my site. That it's the same price as going directly through them, but you do support Fluent in 3 months, and I definitely appreciate that. Because we get a referral credit from them, but you guys don't pay anything extra. So with Mondly, this is my back end of it, and it works like it's effectively trying to be a full course in the language. So here you can see it's covering different themes for vocabulary, but it's also got different grammar points that I can go into, and I can switch between my languages. Um, that edit your language, and I want to learn. So this should show you. This is the list of the languages that they currently offer. So quite a lot, and you can even do this to change the language you currently speak. The interface is available in these languages. So one thing I generally recommend to people, if you happen to know more than one language, is I like to learn my next languages via another language. This is a system known as laddering. So, for instance, I might have the interface in French, and I'm learning whatever it is. My Portuguese is pretty good, so I would pick another language that I'm learning, because obviously these are beginner level things. But it would mean that even while I'm learning these beginning level phrases and things, I'm still kind of practicing my French in a way, and that can just be an interesting way of using the system. So again, 96% off, and that's lifetime membership to cover 41 different languages. So if you want to get a crash course in the beginning basics of multiple different languages, this may be the solution to that problem. Okay. Um, let's see. Other questions. Uh, okay, you guys appreciate the information. Glossica, I think he's great. I don't have Glossica's deals this year, so I don't know if he's doing anything for that. But I partnered with him in the past, and he's got good stuff. But yeah, keep your questions coming. I'll keep on going here. The next one is drops. You guys would probably have seen drops have been exploding in popularity. I'm always seeing on Instagram people sharing their streak on drops because they'll keep up that they've been checking into it every day for a very long time. Drops is another one available in multiple languages. They cover 39 languages and dialects, and this one you get 47% off the lifetime subscription. So with drops, let me show you the app version of it here. You got this gorgeous interface where you are dragging the words to kind of check if you know which one is which, and it's or like dragging to see if you it's a very straightforward interface that feels nice to use. So it's not a pain like a lot of boring interfaces. But as well as that, you are only supposed to use it for a few minutes each day, and that's when you get a boost for it. And you can do that for one language for free, so you can check it out and test it. But for this Black Friday deal, the lifetime subscription, you can expand on just the 5 minute limit, and you can do as long as you like, and you get to use it for all of their languages. So the free version, you have to pick one language and you got to stick to that language. Whereas with this paid version, you can switch between different languages, and they also have a bunch of other features, like when you want to practice your vocabulary afterwards. They have a part of their app called their dojo, and you can only use that if you've got the paid subscription. That's a great way to revise vocabulary in a consistent way. So this is among people's favorites for bursts of language learning app. Like whenever someone tells me they use Duolingo, generally I kind of push them towards drops. Drops I feel is better for those quick bursts of learning. That, like, it's not a language course in the sense of a lot of these other things I'm talking about. This is mostly if you just got a few minutes and you want to learn something, you want to kind of get a burst of making sure you're getting some learning out of this moment, then I would recommend drops. So you can use the free version, but in this paid version, you got way more flexibility. And that's 47% off. And again, you got a link that you can click through if you're going to fluent3months.com, fi3m.com, and selecting the language that you're learning, and picking drops from that. So, um, Nikolai asks, "Do I know Russian and Ukrainian?" Not yet. That's my answer. Is not no, but not yet, because I have never visited Russia or the Ukraine, and I would love to. It is absolutely on my list. So I will have a Russian project at some stage. I haven't decided when. I don't know when that's going to be, but effectively, when I have a language project, it has to get 3 full months of my attention, and I won't need to go to Russia for that. I would go to Russia or the Ukraine when I want to actually use what I've learned. And that's why I say to people that what this period in time when most of us are stuck at home because of the pandemic, this is an ideal period to buckle down and study and learn and get spoken practice and go through courses like this, because then when the world opens up again, that's when you want to be using those skills. When the world opens up again, that's not when you want to be trapped at home studying and getting language lessons, like consistently and intensively. So now is the time to do that. So that's why I recommend, like, we know that the world is going to start opening up again. These vaccines are coming out, so maybe by the summer, most populations will start to have received them, and things can start opening up safely for travel and events. And when that happens, then I want to be going to these countries and using these languages. So until then, I'm going to be buckling down and improving my language skills. So hopefully that helps with that. Um, Jim says, "Have you any opinion on the Fluent Forever app?" I just always see that's in development, so that's all I know about the Fluent Forever app is the updates forever about, oh, something's coming, something's coming. I That's all I know about it, so I've never used it. And another question about Ollie's course. So again, story learning is what Ollie does. If you like the idea of um, kind of making your language learning more of a narrative, so you're not just getting a bunch of information randomly, but you're actually following a story with interesting characters, but that story is tailor made to help you improve your language skills, then Ollie story learning is an excellent way to do that. If you're learning Spanish, French, Italian, Japanese, or German, I definitely do recommend Ollie's product. So if you have any questions about these things, feel free to drop them in for me. Um, and glad I'm answering your questions so far, everybody, and you're wishing me luck. So yeah, thanks. I appreciate everybody who's popping in, and I hope you're all having lovely days. But let's keep on going, because there's loads of very good specific solutions to problems that have special offers on Black Friday, and I want to make sure I show them all to you. And again, everything I'm talking about here, whether you're arriving late or not, it doesn't matter. You'll see everything I'm talking about if you go to fi3m.com or fluentin3months.com, and you'll see this. We've replaced our homepage just for Black Friday. It looks like this. Click this thing here and change it to say the language that you are personally learning and show me the deals. And it'll actually change a little bit. This page that I'm showing you here, if you scroll up the chat, you'll see I dropped a link to it. This is for courses that work for a lot of languages. But if I go here and I click Spanish, you'll actually see courses that I'm not mentioning today. So for instance, we have Ollie's course, Spanish Uncovered, and we have Masalingua because they cover Spanish and Magic Lingua. But we also have Español en 3000. And this one is only available in Spanish. And this one was one that Team Fluent in 3 Months highly recommended. And every course that we're recommending to you guys is a course that my team has vetted, knowing that it is the quality we insist that our readers and viewers need to be able to learn a language well. Um, there's also unlimited Spanish. So these are courses that are not in this main thing I'm going through. There's extra options for each of the languages. We have separate courses just for those learning German, just for those learning Korean, and those are on each of those individual pages. So I couldn't possibly go through everything today, but I did want to focus on the main ones that work for the majority of languages, and that's kind of what I'm going through on this more general page right here. So let's see. The next thing is the magnetic memory method. And again, I like products and options that can solve specific problems. So the magnetic memory method is about solving the issue of remembering what you want to say in a language. So a lot of people have this problem with memorizing vocabulary and remembering grammar rules. And this kind of gives you this entire framework to be able to like begin to create mnemonic systems to remember vocabulary, to to get behind the theory of how your memory actually works and apply this to mostly language learning, but also he talks about other things like how to memorize names and faces and such. But how to speak from memory is like preparing some phrases you may want to say in your target language. So this is done by Anthony. Very, very good course. I highly recommend it for solving specifically the problem of how to have a better memory as a language learner. So this one is 89% off. Again, all of these deals that you're seeing here are only going to be active for this weekend, for the Black Friday weekend, and then they're gone and all the prices go up again. So if you want to solve the memory problem, the magnetic memory method is how I'd recommend you do that. And you get 89% discount if you click this link here. Okay. Um, so let's see. Bob, the true cactus, said, I consider getting your own language pack, but I wasn't sure what the challenges look like. Can you get into a bit with some examples? Yeah, excellent question. So I have a few other things that I'll talk about here, but let's jump ahead to the Fluent 3 Months Black Friday collection. So this one is interesting because it's essentially taking so many different things that I have created over many years of trying to inspire people to learn languages. And we got them all together. These is a total value, the things we genuinely sell individually. And if you were to buy them individually, it would cost $1,719. So among the things it includes, if I open this up in a separate window here, um, we have the challenge, and I want to talk about that shortly. We also have travel hacking, and this is valued at about $50. This is a video module where I'm giving all my best travel hacking tips. A separate live stream just for people in the challenge. We have 11 interviews where I try to get the differences between my approach and other polyglots' approaches and to tie them all together to share with people so that they hear more than just what I have to say. And we have Luca Lampariello, Anthony Lauder, Richard Simcott, Alex Rawlings, Professor Arguelles, Katsumoto, Moses, Stu J. Raj, and a couple of other people. Over 3 hours of me sitting down and interviewing them to get their best language learning tips. This one, when sold separately, is $200. The language gym was me over 21 different modules trying to answer as or address as many very specific language problems that people were having. So I put the gym spin on it because it's like me coaching people and coming up with the like in video format what the biggest challenges people face are. Um, Easy Languages is one that I'm very proud of. That I put a lot of effort into this because whenever I hear people starting to learn language, or when I started to learn German and when I started to learn Chinese, a lot of people told me why it's hard. German is hard because it has all of these cases. It has three genders. German is hard because of this, because of that. Chinese is hard because it has tones. It has the writing system. Blah 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 blah, and it can be very, very discouraging, especially as a beginner level learner, to hear everyone tell you why it's essentially impossible to learn this language. You have to be a genius to learn it. And it has never, ever been my opinion that you have to be a genius to learn a language. There are challenges to it, and you can frame it in a pessimistic way. You can say, these are the reasons why it's too hard. But I wanted to turn that on its head. And I did a lot of research and I put a lot of effort into writing an encouraging book for each one of these six languages: Spanish, French, German, Italian, English as a second language, and Chinese. And to explain to people why it's actually easier than you think. And it's easier than most other languages if you look at it this way. Here are the reasons why French is easier to learn than you may think, and to give people encouragement. So each one of these by themselves, we sell them as an ebook for $39. Collectively, they're worth $234. But this is just a handful. We actually have 13 different things, and collectively, they're all worth 1,719. and we're discounting it to 147. Now, if it was the 12 of the 13 things, that would already make it very good value, I feel. But to address your question, Bob, is the challenge worth it? The challenge is the core of all of this. And we are very, very proud of the Fluent in 3 Months challenge. We tend to put a price of like $300 on this. And when next year comes around, we're likely going to be pushing that up. The price is just shy of $300. It's going to get more expensive next year. And this is, you have private coaches and a very specific group of people that you're learning in sync with, that you have a 90-day project together. And we guide you and guarantee that at the end of the 90 days, you will have at least a 15-minute conversation in the language. So again, by itself, that sells at $297. But that, along with 12 other things, all of which I'm very proud of, that are video courses and answers to very specific language issues and courses within themselves, and you get all of that for 147, and that's only for this weekend. So this is the Fluent in 3 Months collection. What the challenge looks like is you are we give you access to a Slack community of just the people who are doing the same 90-day challenge as you. And then we split people up into what we call dream teams. So dream teams are learning the same language, or if it's a less common language, they're learning very similar languages to one another. And they learn in unison and support one another. And then you also have access through this deal. You have one-to-one access with Shannon, and Shannon is our lead coach, and she's a very accomplished polyglot, smarter than me in many, many ways as far as language learning goes. And she is your best person to give you some true encouragement. And if you run into any issues in your language learning project, you'll ping her and she'll get back to you as soon as possible. And you have that one-to-one coaching experience. And now the biggest other part of it is that rather than just kind of, check in every once in a while or something, we make sure that this is guided with the same philosophy as the projects that I did for many different years. Because I had my Fluent in 3 Months projects, and inspired by this, a friend of mine, Brian Kwong, he created his own thing called the Add One Challenge, where he would challenge people to and guide them to make a video update every 30 days, and then have the final video as the thing they were working towards. And we loved what he did, and we actually took it over, absorbed it into Fluent in 3 Months, and brought it back to where it started, because it was originally inspired by Fluent in 3 Months. And people, we guide them as they're a part of the community to make a day zero video where they're just showing the basic couple of words they already know, day 30, day 60, day 90. And we help with every part of the process. So this is effectively your own Fluent in 3 Months project, where you are trying to get not necessarily fluent, but at least like the whole point of the title, Fluent in 3 Months, is you have a specific target that you're aiming for in a specific timeline. That's what the title comes from. It's from this specificity, and we apply that specificity to your project so you have something true to get out of it. So that effectively is what the Fluent in 3 Months challenge is. And by itself, we generally the rest of the year sell that for just under $300. But that plus did I say 12? Yeah, 12 different things that I went into vast detail on these in my other video yesterday. You can rewatch that. If you're on the fence about getting this, look at the video I uploaded yesterday, and I talk about all of this in more detail. And that's available for just 147. And we're never going to be doing this again, because the Fluent 3 Months challenge, because we're raising the price on it next year, and because we know it's such good value, people really true genuinely get they make progress in their language. We have to pay our coaches to put the time in to guide everyone to learn their languages, that we have to like increase the price, and we're never going to be doing this kind of a deal again. So this is your last chance to get it at this cheaper price, as well as everything else that I've done. So that's kind of our main thing that we're doing on the Fluent in 3 Months side is the Black Friday collection 2020, where you'll get everything, literally everything that is available as digital products that I've made um, for helping you to learn a language, plus the actual challenge, which you can start either in December or in February. So you can pick one or the other because you have to. It has to be a select 3 months. It doesn't work if you start whenever because you have to do it in sync with other people. Um, and sometimes people ask me, would this work if I want to get it for somebody else? And you're welcome to do that. If you invest in this, you can pass it on to somebody else, for instance, as a Christmas present that maybe, they want to learn another language and they can begin that in February. So you would get that yourself this weekend and then just reply to the email that gives you the product and ask, how would I pass this on to my friend? I want them to use it, and we'll give you the details on that. So that's the Fluent in 3 Months Black Friday collection, the main thing that I highly recommend you guys check out. And of course, we appreciate the support for everybody who does invest in it. So before I go into the final other things, let me see what other questions you guys had. Um, Bob says the magnetic memory package is about memory palace, or does it include various techniques? It is definitely about multiple different techniques. It's not about the memory palace specifically. It mentions memory palaces, but that's just one of multiple ways that you can use mnemonic systems to improve your memory skills. So I know for a fact it goes beyond that. So you don't have to think this is just a course about memory palaces. It's not. Okay. Um, Benny, say a few words for good luck in Russian. So sadly, I don't know any Russian, so I wouldn't be able. I know da, and that's about where my limitations go. So I wouldn't even be able to pretend like I could say a few words. But I'll still wish you good luck. I'll wish you good luck in Irish. Canary and Boherlat. Um, all right. And yeah, I'm glad you found that explanation helpful. Okay. So a couple of the final things, and I'll only be live for another 5 or so minutes. So feel free to drop your questions for me, and I will try to get to them. But again, everything that I'm talking about today, look above me. Just type fi3m.com into your browser or fluentin3months.com. Select the language that you're learning, and go to the site, and you'll see all of the best Black Friday deals for language learners that my team could find across the internet that are live this weekend, specifically for products we know are good. We got suggestions from people for some other products that do have deals, but we decided not to share them very specifically because they were not useful. We also had people reach out to us and say, we'll pay you or we'll give you really good referral commission if you share our product. We had several people reach out to us for that. And we said no, even though we could have earned extra money from them because we've tested those products and we know they're just not that good. So this is only things that we know are actually useful language learning products. So that's this is your one-stop shop, as it were. That's why we make sure that we have so many different languages that you can select in the drop-down menu at the start. We want to make sure every language that you could possibly, if you click this thing here, see a very, very long list of languages. Um, but yeah, anyway, getting on to the final ones. Courage to Speak. So this one we're offering at 50% off. So I mentioned Shannon earlier, Shannon Kennedy. She's a very active member of Team Fluent in 3 Months. And she wrote this one. So she created her own separate course where, as you guys know, I'm an outgoing guy. I'm a confident enough guy. So I can't really talk so much on shyness and not having the confidence to approach people when you want to speak to them in their language, because I make mistakes and I'm okay with making mistakes. So I can't really address this topic very well. So with that in mind, Shannon, who identifies more as an introvert and she's not as confident in using, even though she's very good at her languages, she wouldn't be as confident in using them for the first time with other people. But over the years, she has developed methods to work through her shyness and to truly get spoken practice in the language. So this is her course, and that's offered at 50% off. So that's Courage to Speak, and she talks about the mindset language learners need to change, and specific things you can do to help if you feel you're not so confident in your target language. Um, and then we have Conversation Countdown. This is another separate thing that we have a 7-day crash course where we talk specifically about how you can get started speaking your target language if you are starting from absolute scratch. I always say over and over again, my mantra is speak from day one, and you have to do that if speaking is a priority for you. But of course, that begs a lot of questions. People ask me, how can I speak from day one if I barely know any words? I just know like 5 or 6 words in a language. So this is your crash course for what to do in that first week. And we call it Conversation Countdown. And it's a video course. We'll guide you through that whole process. And we're offering that at 50% off just today. So again, that is just an overview. And this particular link that I was going through again for things that work for the majority of languages. I just put the link in the chat bar, but people watching this after the fact should see it in the description underneath me. But the first thing you should do is just go to fluent3months.com and click the link for your language and see what's on offer, because there are multiple things I did not get to, I did not cover in this video, because they're only available for one language in particular. And I just don't have the time to go through every single language. But we put so much effort into researching this, and it's why I hope you guys will check it out. I hope it'll be useful as your go-to to get you the best deals for Black Friday, and that you'll use this opportunity that we have these next months where we can really buckle down and improve our language skills so that when the world opens up again, we can get out and explore it. All right. So, let's see. Yeah, I don't know if there's any other questions I can specifically answer here. You guys are saying thank you, or you would try these if they were available in other languages. Sadly, like I said, I don't have anything for Irish in particular. Maybe I'll see if I can do that for next year's Black Friday. That would be great. So, uh, Tax asking if I have anything for Lithuanian. Do I have Lithuanian here? Oh no, we weren't able to add Lithuanian to this list, unfortunately. Now the Fluent 3 Months challenge. One of the great things about this is we are able to match people with languages that are not far from one another. So you at least have the group that you're learning with. So the challenge is part of our Black Friday collection. So for that, it doesn't matter. We've had people take the challenge who are learning Irish, who are learning languages like Lithuanian, Swahili, languages that generally don't have a lot of resources, that are hard to find things online. You can join the challenge for those less common languages, because the point is that we're not giving you a course in the language. We're giving you the opportunity to learn it intensively with other people and to have access to very skilled polyglots, many of whom may have learned your language and can give you specific tips for how to push it up a significant notch over 90 days. So that's all I can offer for languages that may not have been covered by these lists here. I tried to do as many as we could. We've got over 40 languages, I think, but obviously, you can only do so much. Some languages don't have a lot of resources quite yet. Is the challenge for beginners? No, we have people who do the challenge who are at an intermediate level, and people come back to improve their skills up an extra notch. So definitely not just for beginners. I'd say maybe like 60 or 70% of people in the challenge are absolute beginners, but then another group are people who want to get to a very solid intermediate level. And we have a separate stream of people in the challenge who are trying to push their level up a notch, and even people in the challenge who are trying to have a specific polyglot project. So maybe they want to expand on multiple different languages. Generally, we make this more by focusing on the one language, but it's definitely available for people who already have at least like an intermediate level stage. If you're an advanced mastery level speaker of the language, then the challenge is not going to be very useful to you, I think. It's mostly for people who want to get either from beginner to intermediate or from lower intermediate to really solid upper intermediate. That's when it can be useful. All right. So I'm hoping I addressed most things that you guys had, most questions for me. And that is our list of Black Friday things. Again, check out fluent3months.com and you'll see our full selection of all the best deals that you'll find that are for things that are useful for language learners. So I hope you found that illuminating, and I hope you'll check out the stuff. Of course, any referrals that you get through Fluent 3 months, you don't pay any extra for, but we appreciate it. It does support us as we do. The majority of the stuff that we do is free. We make a lot of free blog posts, and we really try to inspire people through loads of videos. And getting as many people speaking other languages is my true passion in life, and that's what Fluent 3 months, the team, is all about. So we appreciate your support from stuff like this. But again, it's not about the support for you when you're getting this. These are really good products that are worth investing in. All right. Um, if you're learning other languages I didn't mention today, then just check out the links here. You'll see if your language is covered. But otherwise, I hope you guys found that interesting. Thanks so much for joining me today. And until the next time, happy language learning, everybody.